see it behind me, Pat Vaughn. Up to possibly 2,000 customers here in this area. We're in Teasdale and
I'm going to have you show this, Duncan, if you can.
Another bit of mess we have run
I'm going to show you right here, Duncan.
See this happening.
Can you guys see these embers? This is what we're talking about. They're burning so brightly, and then they land in, little grass like this and start the spot fires. But look at how large that piece of ember is. I mean,
but miss that apartment.
Yeah, I mean, there's no touching it, but you can get an idea. It's the size of one of these balls that falls from the thing. But, I mean, these are huge chunks of embers that are being pushed through the wind and blown by these gusts, and that's what has been the biggest challenge and the biggest fight in this fire.
And they say that has been a problem.
It's amazing to see. Again, I've been surprised at how large some of the embers have been that we've seen fly through the wind, David.
Imagine one of those getting into your attic, and then the next fire is on and underway. Leanne, you've been amazing. We're going to use your shot. And thank you for the clarification, because we have found a woman named Lisa who actually lives on that street, and we want to talk to her about what she's witnessing from your cameras. And Lisa, are you there?
CHP and a tow truck actually had to be called in to help clean up and fully open the freeway again.
Do you see anything you recognize?
City Parking Enforcement directing traffic at the intersection of Moore Park and Laurel Canyon. This intersection extremely busy, gets backed up at rush hour.
I see there you're at the beginning of the corner of what's considered
really trying to do what they can to move traffic along in that area.
And
this, of course, is what we're seeing in majority of neighborhoods here in the Southland. Back out here live, you can see LADWP crews moving their cars here. They still have this large portion of Moore Park blocked off. But I can tell you, the crews tell us it may be frustrating for people. Right now, if you have lost power, it could be anywhere from 4 to 12 hours before your power is restored. That is extremely frustrating for so many people. It's a cold night. People may want to use their heaters, of course, if they're electric powered. And so many people finding it extremely frustrating. But here's the issue, especially in this area where it's so dark right now, is that they tell us they first need a tree trimming crew to come out here. They need to knock down these trees, cut down these trees.
I just wanted to know, what was it like? When did you decide to get out of there? Because I know, we had been watching Pacific Palisades go up all day. But this is a late occurrence this evening where it broke out. I don't even remember, like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and the next thing you know, everybody's running for their lives. What was it like for you? How quickly does this happen?
It can be bothersome.
So thanks to one of our neighbors, who I believe one of her homes is the one on fire, not the one that the firefighters are directly in front of that I can see, but to the left of it. Her name is Sydney. She took a photo at 6:15, and she sent it to the WhatsApp community page for our community. And we saw the fire on the hill just above, on the backside of the canyon. And she sent it to all of us, and we all went outside. We saw it, and then we see some of our neighbors, our next door neighbor, having Christine started packing up. And then we're like, okay, we've got to pack up. We went to our other neighbors and said, what are they going to do? They've been through fire before. We're just 5 years, so we're experiencing
and a desperate
the fire
evacuation is underway right now in the city of Altadena. Dozens of seniors are being rescued from their senior home center, and they're being loaded
a quick heads up way before we got the alert from any firefighters or police arrived on the scene, and it's thanks to them that I think a lot of us were able to grab a few things and get the heck out of there.
And now
how shocking was it, the speed of this fire? Because we watched it from our vantage point. We knew this was going to be bad, but you're right there.
And buildings are burning,
it was
evacuation orders on this fire
fast. I was kind of hoping that between where the fire was up on the hill, we hike it all the time. We're quite familiar. We were just kind of hoping that if the winds just doesn't catch an ember, if it doesn't come all the way down, maybe we'll get lucky. The last fire that was in the area, they said that for a miracle, the fire leaked over the whole entire community, and embers burnt some other areas that saved the whole community that time. So we were kind of hoping the same thing might happen this time, but the winds this time around were so strong and so the gusts were just
here's what's happening right now. I just got a call from a source who tells me people are coming out of the hillside of Malibu to Duke's Malibu covered in burns. My source tells me no less than half a dozen people who didn't evacuate when they were supposed to are now suffering burn injuries. Also, a 25-year-old LAFD firefighter has sustained a serious head injury and has been rushed to a local hospital. I want to take you to my computer here. I want to show you this is the Palisades fire that we are talking about. The evacuation zone has significantly expanded. Duke's Malibu, if you're not familiar with that area, is right off of Las Flores Canyon Road.
It is heartbreaking to see this.
Now, Lisa,
how long have you lived in this community, and how many people lived in your home?
There are people that are living in these homes that didn't evacuate that are now trapped, calling 911 for help, and some of them being injured. LAFD confirmed they have multiple burn patients who have been walking out of the hillsides, not even driving. They have been injured, burned, and then their only resource was to walk out of the hillside to Duke's Malibu, where now there is a rescue operation underway to try to treat these people and get out. We've been telling you all day there have been no injuries. Unfortunately, that is no longer the case, as multiple people suffering burn injuries, and now a 25-year-old firefighter who sustained a serious head injury. She was taken to an area hospital where we don't have an update on her condition, but the injury, as the fire department is describing it, is serious. I want to take you out to Altadena now. This is the other fire we're talking about. This is the Eaton fire. Right now,
it's
the fire department says this has burned 400 acres. These are live pictures of a home burning in the Altadena area. This has been going on throughout the night.
We spoke to Dr. Lucy Jones, who just in the last year came up with sort of a group of people to be there, a support system. You sound like you have a great support system in your neighborhood, and it's because of that one person who took a photo and sent it to your WhatsApp group.
Burn injuries. A source telling me they didn't evacuate, became entrapped by fire, and their only resource was to walk out of the hillside of Malibu down to PCH to Duke's Malibu, where they are now getting treatment. My first response.
So I have no driver's license, no credit card. I've got nothing on my person. Luckily, my husband did have his wallet. We were busy making sure we were able to get to our cats. We were having one of them be a little bit more difficult, and I had to take my purse off in order to get her into her crate. And then we just kind of went out the door, and I left it.
So we're going to talk about
100 things to think of all at once with an enormous amount of stress. We had been reporting as this day came closer and closer, and Dallas was warning us this could be a wind event of historic proportions. Have you seen winds this powerful before in this community?
We get the Santa Anas all the time. There was one time since we moved here where the winds were pretty bad. A couple of trees had fallen over, landed on the power lines. Thank God it didn't spark a fire. So that's happened several times since we've lived there in the last 5 years. Other people in the community, I'm sure, have seen. They keep talking about a time in 2010 when it was really super bad, and a lot of the trees in the community fell over and a lot of the fences. But we weren't there for that. But last night or earlier this morning, the winds were so high, I thought the roof was going to fall off our home. It was that bad. And since we're on the end, we can see the trees on the wash as well as in our backyard, and they were just bending over. I'm just watching them, thinking at any moment they're going to snap. And it's pretty loud. I was ever hopeful, or my husband was ever hopeful that, we're going to be okay, we're going to be okay. And I'm just like, I don't think so. And it just happened so quickly, and by the time we got the cats in the crate and in the car, there was so much smoke, and we could see the embers flying in the sky and in the dark, just landing, and we're trying to get the garage closed so that it's not exposed, and we were just having such a hard time. I'm just now watching, I believe that's one of our neighbors, Colleen's place, I think, that I believe is going up in flames right now. Sarah is watching Channel 7 here. So it got really dark, smoky fast, and we really couldn't see where we were going. And I think actually I may have been the last one out in our street following my husband in both of our cars.
Burning up through the dry brush in front of
your
their
account
homes.
is incredible.
You can see all of the black
At least you're alive, your family's alive.
This thing.
I know.
It's just unbelievable that this is
just
happening
for one
in
more
Pasadena,
point of clarification, you did not see your home on fire. So is there a possibility it still is around?
I don't know.
We're going to go around the corner
just
a little
bit here.
Looking
at what you guys are showing the footage right now, there's a bend in the curve there at the end of the way there, and then it goes straight back, and there are more homes down in that cul-de-sac area. And you guys haven't shown any footage down in that area, so but based on speaking to someone before I spoke to you, she said that your newscasters who you have on the scene believe that they might all be on fire, but we don't have confirmation of that because we can't see they're at the beginning of the street and in kind of the middle, but not at the very end.
Lisa, we're so sorry. We hope for the best.
For sure, this
you never know
and maybe another one or two
until you get that moment. And Leanne is pointing out that house is pretty much done. Yeah.
And this is maybe half a mile down the street
right now,
from where
the Rooneys live in that house.
I
believe
over
their last
100
name.
people from a senior
And now
center.
their home is going on fire.
You know, in the middle of the
Okay,
evening
Leanne, go right ahead.
Pushing them down the street.
I just wanted to update Lisa. I apologize, and I hate to say this, but we have been able to walk down and confirm everything on the street, all the way down around the bend where her home is. It is all gone. It is all on fire. At this point, the only structures left here on Creekside are 15, 18, and 1520. That is it. Everything else is on fire. It's either currently burning or it's already gone.
Lisa, I'm so sorry to deliver the news to you. It's a very sad way to do it, but
that's okay. We do appreciate it, and we'll be getting on the thread and letting everybody know. So we do appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, best of luck to you and all of your neighbors, and you know, we pray for the two homes that are still there, and hopefully they can save them. But thank you so much for calling us and letting us know, and we'd love to follow up.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sounds like maybe closer to
all right. Well, we're staying with the Eaton fire right now, and Armando Barragon, he is in Hastings Ranch, and Armando works with us. He's our assignment manager. And Armando, you're in seeing all this destruction. You're the person who assigns all of us to go out in the field and to report on what's affecting our community. And you are now being directly impacted by the very large story of this evening of this wind event. How does it feel? And how's your family doing right now?
But I mean, look over this way. How black this is down the road.
Hey David, I'm in Hastings Ranch on Mitchell Linda, the top of Mitchell Linda, which is also the border of Sierra Madre, and I came out here to kind of check on what was happening. I live in Monrovia, and I was concerned the fire's coming my way, and unfortunately I'm near a lot of friends' homes, and a lot of their homes are in danger right now at this moment.
How's the smoke, Armando? Obviously, we're seeing, this is video, we're showing video that you have shot, and you can see that it looks pretty smoky out there already, and this is in direct, right next to you.
Retain water and
It is. When I first arrived, there was a line of cars exiting the neighborhood. I've seen so many cops evacuating everyone, but unfortunately I've seen very few firefighters. They definitely do not have a handle on this. I'm really worried about, my community, Monrovia, Arcadia, Sierra Madre, Hastings Ranch. But this kind of reminds me of the Bobcat fire.
Just incredibly sad 2020. And dramatic pictures.
Well, how difficult is it getting out of the community? Because the video that you're showing us, you show all the cars that are lined up. Obviously, these are people trying to evacuate and get out. Is that still flowing smoothly, or are there problems?
We're here in Southern California alone.
No, they're out now. I'm actually going to get out of the car for a minute so you have a better vantage point. But fortunately, everyone is out, and I will be leaving shortly.
Here in Southern California, that's one of the most common weather patterns that we talk about.
A lot of people have relocated to friends' houses, hotels, you name it. But I know a lot of people in Monrovia are already packing up.
Yeah, that's the beauty of living in those foothill communities. It's just so beautiful. Boy, when you start seeing these evacuation orders and warnings, and you're seeing the Eaton fire, Armando, really quickly, David touched on it a moment ago with Lisa, but this, all eyes were on the Palisades fire. So when this sparked at some point in the 6 o'clock hour, we'd say, it really took off quickly. How surprised were you? Because you've lived here for many, many years.
It did not surprise me when I heard a fire in Eaton Canyon. I just knew that within a matter of a couple of hours of me knocking on the doorstep. And that's pretty much exactly what's happening. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people impacted. I mean, this could be another disaster in the making. For the San Gabriel Valley, similar to the Station fire and, of course, the Bobcat fire.
Armando Barragon, be careful out there. We hope to see it tomorrow at work, but if not, we fully understand. But, take care of your family and let us know how you're doing, and, we hope for the best.
Talking about the speed of the fire, just unreal. It's almost like a 10
let's go to Sophie Flay. She is also near the Eaton Canyon fire in Altadena. And Sophie, how are things? Well, clearly, it's devastating where you are, too.
Over a building. And our Lori Perez is
David,
I'm standing at the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center.
Some of the momentous events that have happened just behind you all evening long, Laura.
You know, I've been doing this job for a while, and I cannot believe what I have seen tonight in Malibu. You know, Mike Rogers was talking about the people who are walking to Duke's Malibu. We've been hearing about that too, so we were trying to get up there, but we could not even get up there because the fire was so intense, we didn't want to get through. In fact,
ending at the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, and I collapsed completely engulfed in flames. And if you take a look on the left-hand side, you can see a home right next door to it. Here, we're on Altadena.
In the last couple of seconds,
a home right next door to it has also been engulfed in flames. We actually tried to show you that home earlier, but we had to move because the embers were flying so fast towards us, but as you can see, that home is completely gone. And actually next to this area, when we were talking to you earlier, we mentioned that there was a nursing home and an assisted living home that did have to be evacuated. That was at the intersection of Altadena and Washington, and I want to show you some of that video that we have of people being evacuated. That was the Park Terraces and the Pasadena Wellness Center, those areas. There were 96 people that had to be evacuated. People in gurneys, people in wheelchairs, people in rolling beds being rushed out of that assisted living home, out of that nursing home. 96 of them transported and evacuated to Los Feliz. We talked to a woman who rushed over here from Arcadia to help her mom. She had had power going in and out all day, so it was really hard for her to understand the situation and what was going on. But if you take another look, live look back out here, you can see the flames have just gotten bigger and bigger. That black smoke, those bold, bright orange flames just ripping through right in front of us here at the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I don't know if you can hear that, but a lot of popping, a lot of loud noises, a lot of crackling out here. It really is just devastating to watch. So far, the building kind of, again, I do believe that this building is connected. These two structures are connected to each other. Again, it's my first time here, so I want to be careful in reporting that. It does look as though the building to the right-hand side has not been touched by flames, but again, the roof of this building, the Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center, has completely collapsed. And we did hear that firefighters are on the other side of these flames trying to fight it. Again, we didn't go over there because it does feel like a little bit of a dangerous situation, and we want to let them do their job, their very important job tonight. But again, the wind is just moving so fast, forcing these flames, again, in a matter of minutes. This has just completely collapsed.
Okay.
Sophie, as we're watching your live report, do you have any idea how close you are to Leanne Suter? Because we know you both are covering the Eaton fire, and you both are, your backdrops are devastating and destructive, and you just see it. The fire is just ravaging so many of these structures behind you, but I can't ascertain exactly how close you are to Leanne.
There's a chemical.
Actually, when we got to Altadena earlier today, we ran into Leanne. We saw their news truck. We pulled over. We saw her in front of those burning homes. I would say she's about 3 blocks away from us. So we're in Altadena. She's on New York, and we're at Altadena in Washington. So Altadena, we're in Altadena, and it's sandwiched between New York and Washington. So we're really not far from Leanne. So that gives you a good idea of just how destructive it has been in this neighborhood.
We don't see a lot of civilian.
That certainly helps clarify exactly how close you are, because I know, this whole community, they're on pins and needles watching these fires taking over these areas.
Right. Sophie, thank you for that. I know you have to move and try to stay as safe as possible. We'll check back with you when you get to a safer location. In the meantime, let's see if we can do this live. But Philip, our producer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Another development. This is a breaking development, and one that we wish we didn't have to report. But this is towards Sun Valley, shot from the Burbank Airport area, and you can see another fire has broken out. This is up in Sun Valley, beyond Burbank, beyond the Burbank Airport. We don't know what is burning at this point. This is a distant shot. We don't have a lot of information on it, but clearly another fire has broken out in another area of Southern California. This is not connected to the Altadena fire or the Palisades fire. This is entirely different.
And you know, we do ask a lot of our eyewitness viewers, if you do know where this is, or if you can safely get any video or images of this, we certainly would like it. You could post it on ABC7 Eyewitness, or you can send it to our breaking news on our website, abc7.com, to send in a tip. But again, we're watching this breaking development happening right now in Sun Valley.
Now, another imagery that we want to show you of, let me see, that's not quite what we're talking about, but this is showing you some proximity. Oh yeah, I see. Philip, thank you very much. Philip, our weather producer, is helping out Dallas. So look there, Dove Creek, you see that? That is the home that Leanne was reporting from, and Lisa, the woman we had on the phone, that's where she lived, on Dove Creek Lane. All of those homes is what she was talking about. You see that curve in the cul-de-sac? That's what she was, I'm sorry, Creekside and Dove Creek. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. Creekside is where she lived. Creekside Court, right? And then Leanne was also on Dove Creek Lane. That small kind of pocket of homes is what we saw devastated in the last few minutes when we were talking to Lisa, when we were, thank you, Phil, when we were talking to Lisa and we were talking to Leanne. It's those homes, many of them are townhomes, so each building that you see is actually multiple homes. And most of those are now gone.
It was very sad to see the destruction, and then to hear Leanne tell Lisa that unfortunately so many of those homes, except for those two that are right at the very end, the left-hand side, I believe, where Dove Creek Lane and Creekside Court merge. And David, actually, we're also talking about getting an idea exactly about these fires. So you're at our touch screen, and I know that our lighting is a little bit off right now.
Sorry about that.
We have a power outage.
We haven't had an opportunity to actually talk about this, but we don't have power right now here in Glendale. The high winds have knocked out power. We're on reserve power.
It is very, very dry here.
So are basically a generator, and so we don't have our regular lights. Pay no attention to me. This is what I want you to pay attention to. And this screen, I would just want to give you physically, kind of show you what we're dealing with when it comes to Southern California, particularly Los Angeles, and the fires that we're dealing with right now. So this is,
but there's going to be a lot of these areas that don't normally get in on these really strong gusty winds.
It just jumped.
So this is a look at our wind future cast. I want to take a step out of the way because I do want to zoom you in on some
Colleen, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Perfect.
And I'm going to try to figure out what just happened there. Try not to laugh.
That touchscreen, though, is very touchy, and I've been lucky enough to be on it quite a few times, but you're going to get back to it, David, and we will see you.
I have no idea what just happened because that's never happened to me before. So, but we do want to show you the proximity of where all these fires are burning here in Southern California, how far away they are, but also where the fires are headed and the communities that they're hitting. Philip, you got something for me? Okay, pop it up, Philip. Let's see if you can help us out.
There you go.
Okay, so, all right, this is great map. Okay, so the fire by the 210 sign there, that is the Altadena fire in Eaton Canyon. That one broke out this evening about 6:30 this evening, and that is the one that spread so quickly, and we see such devastation where Sophie and Leanne are. The Palisades fire over here to the left that Philip just circled, that has been going on since 10 o'clock this morning and has been burning steadily. Now, what's important is, Philip, can you zoom in on the Palisades fire? Oh, and this is the new fire that we just showed you with the breaking developments beyond the Burbank Airport in Sun Valley. So now we are dealing with 3 different fire areas here in Los Angeles particularly. So as you can see where the fire is, it started up in the hills in the Palisades, but it has burned down. We saw it going towards Malibu earlier in the day, but now it's burning south towards Santa Monica, and they're starting to create evacuation orders for basically the meat of Santa Monica, where all those homes are. We're redirecting many of our reporters into that area to see how that evacuation is going. Philip is basically circling this huge area that is now affected by the fire, from Bel Air to Brentwood to Pacific Palisades to Santa Monica over to Malibu. That is an enormous area that is growing particularly quickly and has been growing since 10 o'clock this morning. Philip, can you bring us back to the mountains over there near Altadena? So that area, it started near Eaton Canyon in Altadena, but it burned south there. Now it's burning towards Pasadena, down south of there, and Sierra Madre, kind of towards towards where Armando was just talking to us about. So you could see how it starts with one small community, but these communities are growing and growing, and evacuations are growing. And that's why part of the challenge is, where do you find an evacuation center when the centers that they're looking at could potentially be overrun by this fire, because it's moving so quickly and these winds are absolutely blasting. And keep in mind, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. is where Dallas was saying could be the trickiest time when it comes to these fires. I have a number of people here in the studio trying to help us out with all these maps going on. But Philip, great job. I'm sorry I really messed up this other monitor, but we'll get that fixed and going in just a second. Dan is here saving the day and trying to fix that monitor that I messed up. It was a creative effort.
It certainly was. That touchscreen is really, really helpful, and it does give you a good idea of the vicinity of where everything is located. So again,
Dan's over there fixing it right now. So we'll have it for you soon.
And he's hoping that we don't pull him up. But let's go. We're going to go to Jory Rand. Jory, we know you moved locations now. Where are you?
1964.
So actually, we looked to move locations. We're still at Amalfi Drive at Sunset Boulevard. We went all around to see what was going on, because we thought that flames were imminently about to arrive at the homes north of Sunset Boulevard here on Amalfi Drive. We drove up there. The flames are still a ways away. Here, I'll step out of the way, and you can see this is what we saw when we got here about 5 hours ago. Flames crested that hill and have slowly been making their way down. There is a valley down below between where we are right now and where you see those flames off in the distance. They have yet to make their way across that valley. We've just been able to see some homes that are burning up on that hillside and some empty brush inside Will Rogers State Park that has not burned yet. And that's what we're seeing burn right now. And police and firefighters thought it would have made it here given the pace of its progress up until a couple hours ago. It seems to have stalled until, of course, just within the last 5 minutes, these flames have picked back up again. And we'll see what that means in terms of the progress. But we also, once things died down a little bit, began to drive west on Sunset Boulevard, and we have some video of that. And flames reached right up along the roadway of Sunset Boulevard. That was one of the hazards while driving. Another is these winds have brought down so many tree branches that navigating Sunset Boulevard was nearly impossible. There were portions where there was really only one or less than one lane open to go through. We've seen LAPD cruisers maybe switching shifts make their way through at relatively high speeds, and there are a lot of dangers on the roadways. That's one of the reasons why they shut this down, because there is just so much danger on the road, plus fire, tree trunks on fire right up against Sunset Boulevard, and we have seen some homes off in the distance here on Sunset go up as well.
Shut down all of their schools. They're not even any.
There is also the danger of tree trunks, tree limbs coming down. In fact, we learned a 25-year-old firefighter with LAFD suffered a serious head injury and had to be taken to the hospital. And I believe at some point we're going to get to video of that. We do know that 25-year-old was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. We also learned that several people were seen walking towards a restaurant suffering burn injuries. We've learned that they have been taken to a hospital as well. Back here at Amalfi and Sunset, south of Sunset. Looks really good. We took a drive down there as well, and really no danger at this hour for homes down there. And in fact, that was particularly of interest because we learned that parts of Santa Monica are under evacuation warnings, and that is basically in that direction. Riviera Country Club is just a couple blocks away from here. On the far side of that is San Vicente in Santa Monica, and that's about the point where those first evacuation orders went into place. In fact, they were warnings at the time, and then beyond that, between San Vicente and Montana were put under evacuation warnings in the city of Santa Monica. So that was when flames appeared to be making a really rapid march to the east towards our location. It seems to have stalled, although it found some new brush, perhaps some new homes to go up here off Sunset Boulevard and up into Will Rogers State Park. We were told at the top of Will Rogers there are some homes up there. They say those are gone. Those have been lost. And as we hear an engine coming up Sunset right now. It's difficult to tell what is what with the noises out here because the wind is so steady and so strong. There are times it sounds like a jet is taking off, but really it's just the wind whipping through the trees. And we've been paying attention to some of the ornamental shrubs over here. One by one, they are being taken down by this wind, which is just relentless at this point. And it seems to come in all directions. At times it's blowing from the east-west, which is what we'd expect from a Santa Ana wind event, and other times it is blowing at our backs, blowing east, which is particularly of concern for the fire that is over there and flames making their way towards these neighborhoods. But it seems like it has stalled. It has yet to transverse the valley behind us, which is good news for the cluster of homes here. But as of now, things look okay at this location. The same cannot be said just about a quarter mile to our west. We'll continue to monitor conditions here and see how they go, guys.
Yeah, and Jory, it just doesn't seem like that wind is dying down. In fact, it does seem very, very strong where you are. We're going to keep checking back in with you throughout the evening, of course. We also want to talk about what we're learning about a firefighter who was injured battling the fire. We know that there was a firefighter seriously hurt battling the Palisades fire. The department says she suffered a head injury around 8:30 tonight. It's the 25-year-old firefighter. They received treatment on the scene before she was taken to the hospital. So our thoughts are certainly going out to this LA firefighter who, like so many of our firefighters tonight, they are putting their lives in danger to try to protect you and property. We're also going to go back over to David. David, hopefully that touch screen is going to be a little more mindful.
We're going to give it a shot, one more shot, because it's an important illustration to make, and this is where the Palisades fire started right here, and you can see this is the path of the fire, and then the pink color that you see here, those are mandatory evacuations. We have been reporting that throughout the day since 10 o'clock this morning. The important thing that we want to talk about when it comes to the latest evolution of this fire is this is the evacuation warning. This is the area they want to start thinking about evacuating, or they want you to get out if you can right now. And that is getting into the meat of Santa Monica, the heavily populated area of Santa Monica. I don't want to go in too much because this map is touchy, but each one of these is a home or an apartment building. Let me go back out a little bit. Now, if this evacuation continues to move in this direction, then you're looking at the really heavily populated area of Santa Monica, and these are the folks that need to start thinking about preparing to get out. If the winds continue to blast like they have been, and we expect them to go throughout into the morning, but overnight into the morning, all of these folks right here could be in danger of this fire that continues to rapidly move. And we just want to make sure that everybody knows that if you live in this enormous community with thousands of people, you need to be aware of the dangers that you could be in throughout the night tonight. Keep aware of all the warnings that are going on out there. And in fact, right now, we should probably check in with Dallas Raines because he has been monitoring those winds, and tonight is the most dangerous night of all.
That's right, David, and we're moving into a situation where after midnight tonight through early tomorrow morning, I am anticipating another very strong surge of Santa Ana winds. Tonight, when you look at the wind profile here, it's impressive. Winds of 36 to 55 mile per hour gusts still being reported, especially in those canyon areas. That's where the strongest winds are blowing tonight. There's Pasadena. We've had wind gusts in some of the remote weather stations that we look at as meteorologists, and some of those have been up to 69, 70 miles per hour. As we go down into the OC, very strong winds are blowing through the canyon passes in Santa Ana and all the way down to the coast. You can see San Clemente still getting some wind gusts tonight, and of course all of our friends in the IE. Fortunately, we have not seen any fires started down in that area. This fire today was started about 22 minutes after 10 o'clock in a canyon just above the area where the most of the fire has been today. And then here's the Altadena shot. So again, this fire was started just above these communities in Altadena, up there in the foothills, just above the city there. You can see that we're zooming in on those areas where some of these homes, unfortunately, are burning tonight. And the winds, of course, are so strong they can blow those embers over some houses into others. So anyone who is north of the 210 freeway tonight, I would advise you to be ready to move out just in case, because I do not anticipate the winds backing down very much. There is a time when that's going to happen, and I believe that will be late morning tomorrow. we'll see the winds back down a little bit, shift a little bit more to the east. This forecast here shows the winds still quite strong down at PV. Not sure I really believe this computer model that much with winds of 36 to 45 miles per hour at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's hope that model is wrong. I don't agree with that one. However, with the Altadena one, I do agree with. I think we'll see another burst of powerful Santa Ana winds all the way through just around sunrise. And then at that point, the winds will back down. And that's what we want so we can fly the helicopters that can get in there and make those drops. Santa Monica today had wind gusts of 55. Now, these are official reports. If you get up in some of those canyons, you can get wind gusts higher than that, easily 75. I did see 87 mile per hour wind gusts today up at Magic Mountain, Burbank, 71. Wow, that's amazing. That center of that low pressure tonight is exactly where I thought it would be. It's spinning around. This is the Sea of Cortez. Here is Los Angeles. We're still under the influence of these powerful northeast winds feeding into the center of this low. But guess what? This low is going to move on out to the east, and when that happens tomorrow afternoon, we'll see the winds really back down. Here's a model forecast showing some of the winds through tonight. We know that already. And then once we get in tomorrow morning, they're still coming through those canyon passes. Really, really powerful winds. But as we move into the late morning, watch everything just really change dramatically. We get into 11 o'clock tomorrow night. This time tomorrow night, the red flags will still be flying more than likely, but I think our winds will be way down. Red flags through to Thursday, and then cooling weather is coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The next chance of Santa Ana winds will be Tuesday of next week. That's on my 7-day, and I think this one will be of moderate intensity, but we're going to have to watch it really carefully because we could see red flags flying again at the end of the 7-day forecast. All right, look at those cold temperatures in the valleys too. Coming up over the weekend, we'll be down mid to upper 30s in many valley locations. At the beaches tomorrow, fire danger still high above Malibu as powerful winds blow. They'll start backing off in the afternoon. Red flags going to stay with us until Thursday. 69 degrees down on the coastline on Thursday. Then a big cool down as we head toward the weekend. In the mountain areas, I hope you had a chance to see that snow in Big Bear today. It was beautiful to see. Light snow showers are still possible. Very cold at Big Bear. 39, dropping to 13 Saturday night. Now to the deserts, gusty winds in the forecast, 58, 60, 65 on Friday, and the weekend forecast there. Temperatures fairly mild. We'll be back up there running temperatures in the low 70s or so out in Palm Springs, 74, 69. So again, red flag warnings are still here. I expect more powerful winds overnight tonight.
All right, we sure could use an end to the red flags. Dallas, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us for a special edition of Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Brown with Colleen Sullivan. Our ongoing coverage of these two disastrous fires that are burning right now in Los Angeles County. Let's get more now from Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher in Malibu.
Medical is what a 911 call reported to CHP. Another
Hi, Mark. All right, so right now we are at Pacific Coast Highway and Carbon Canyon outside of LA County Fire Station 70. I'm going to walk you through some process language to explain how we got down here from Pacific Palisades where we were earlier. So as you heard Jory mention, as our viewers heard Jory mention, LA Fire Department said that around 9 o'clock there were several burn victims that made their way to a local restaurant. We were getting word that that was possibly Duke's, which is on Pacific Coast Highway. A lot of people familiar with Duke's restaurant. So we made our way down to Duke's. We spoke with Ventura County Fire PIO Andy Van Skyver, who told us that those individuals were moved here to LA Fire Station 70. So we made our way down Pacific Coast Highway, and as we did, I mean, it was just really devastating to see many oceanfront properties completely burned out. We've heard the comparisons to Lahaina, and I can confirm that that is exactly what it looked like, just apocalyptic. And we did get some video of that we're hoping to get back to the station. Service a little bit spotty. But anyway, we made our way here to LA Fire Station 70. We were told that those victims were transported. Unfortunately, though, we could not get any confirmation on just how many and also the severity of their injuries. But as this fire goes into the night, people now, it appears, are being injured by falling debris and also by fire and burns, which is not a good case. In either case, we've made our way down to Malibu now, and there are many people now that are outside, that don't have power, that are along Pacific Coast Highway, kind of looking in the direction of Pacific Palisades, preparing for what their next moves could be if the fire reaches them. Of course, they dealt with this situation last month. We spoke with one individual who explained to us what his night is looking like tonight.
Sure, so last night I got the wind advisory for like 80 to 100 mile per hour life-threatening alert last night. So whenever I get a wind alert now, I know there's probably going to be a fire. So what's going on right now is I live up by Zuma Beach, and I have no power or internet. So what we do in Malibu is we just kind of, sorry about that. So what happened was I left and went over the hill just to get internet, came back. Before I go to sleep, I drove down here just to see how far the fire came, so I know how to prepare.
Okay, what are you doing to prepare?
I just grabbed photo albums, that kind of stuff, anything important, maybe just some clothes, to prepare. I have my car packed. I have a bug out bag as well. When I was up there on the driving down the hill, I could see further back, and it just looked like a cigarette. When you take a cigarette and you start sucking on it, and you could see the end start lighting up more. That's what the Palisades looks like from here. It just looks like, crazy.
These fires,
and not just the Palisades, but also portions of Malibu, as my photographer Tommy Harris and I can certainly explain. Just driving through that area, it was really heartbreaking and devastating to see. We've spoken about how Air 7 has been grounded due to the conditions out there, and when Air 7 does eventually get up and over this fire area for the Palisades fire, you will certainly see some devastating images, unfortunately, that we've gotten to see firsthand, up close and personal here tonight. Really a scary situation, and as you've heard many times tonight, just a remarkable job by firefighters who are working around the clock to try to get this fire under control tonight under some really tough and windy conditions. So that's the latest here in Malibu. I'll go ahead and send it back to you in the studio, Mark.
Tornadoes covered those.
Michelle, thank you very much for that live report. Of course, that is again, we've been so thankful that nobody has been hurt during these fires. Now we're finding out there are some people who have been injured. We do not know how many people. We do not know the severity of their injuries.
And we have some unfortunate news to report, and that is that there's another brush fire to tell you about. The LA City Fire Department putting out this information just a few minutes ago that about 50 acres, this fire is north of the 210 freeway. There's an immediate evacuation order from Roxford to the Interstate 514 freeway split. This is a fire that just started above Sylmar and is burning in a southern direction. The LA City Fire Department now responding to that. Sylmar, a part of Los Angeles. And you can imagine now the resources from the various departments being stretched to the limit right now. That's why they put out that request hours ago for all off-duty LA City Fire personnel to report for duty if possible, because they are desperately needed at this point. Another fire is broken out, this one near Sylmar. An immediate evacuation order has already been placed for the area north of the 210 freeway from Roxford to the Interstate 514 freeway split. A very large response from the LA City Fire Department is dealing with this fire that has broken out near Sylmar. We don't have a name for that fire yet, but that's another one now that we're going to keep an eye on. And you're looking at live pictures from one of our stationary cameras. It's hard to see from where we are, but the estimate is that it is somewhere around 50 acres.
Right, and Mark, you can see just by a little bit of that little sparking, those embers have obviously traveled. Again, you can see the wind event that is happening this evening. Again, we have been talking about it. We're seeing a lot of school closures. A lot of companies are asking people to work from home, but you can see, just take a look right there. All Santa Monica and Malibu schools, they are closed due to the winds and the fires. We know Pasadena Unified Schools, they called it. Arcadia Unified Schools, they called for the closures, and Glendale Unified Schools also called for the closures. closures, and I know specifically with Glendale, they also talked about daycare centers. So if you have children and you need to have a place for them to be watched tomorrow, make sure and call ahead or go to their website to see if those facilities are open, because I think a lot of families are going to be impacted by this, all these closures that are taking place all throughout our area.
It is a difficult night we are going through, and it's going to get worse, believe it or not. The winds are going to pick up in the overnight hours. Dallas has been talking about this for about 24 hours now. He has given us the warning that somewhere between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. this tomorrow morning is when the winds are going to be at their very worst. They're going to be at their fiercest and strongest, and they've been fierce and strong all day. Gusts up to 80 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour in Eaton Canyon, with sustained winds in the 20s and 30 miles an hour. It has been relentless. These fires are marching through neighborhoods with very little or nothing to stop them.
No doubt about it. And, you know, we were watching Jory Rand's live shot just moments ago saying that he was watching certain areas near him, and he was saying that he saw this flag. He thought he was going to sort of keep an eye on it to give a barometer of how strong these winds have been this evening. So again, we're keeping an eye on all the different winds that are blowing and how they are affecting all of our reporters who are out fanned across the area. They are doing a tremendous job keeping all of us informed for the neighborhoods that are impacted. And again, we're seeing more fires happening the later this evening goes. So it is very sobering to know that there's going to be even stronger winds heading our way.
And with every burned structure, with every neighborhood evacuated, there are human stories and human beings who are affected by all of that. We have Carol Sproka. Can you hear us, Carol?
Of the weather, because we can't have aircraft.
Carol, you're on the air with us now. Can you hear us okay?
The choppers flying to drop water,
I don't
stop
hear them.
the fire, even the fixed wing.
Hi, Carol. What's your situation right now? What have you had to evacuate? What have you been up to?
They're not even able to do that. So right now,
yeah, earlier we went up there because it was a volunteer evacuate. So we went to get our in-laws who live up the street.
And even then,
the fire was like literally right there.
I'm sure.
And how did you get? Were you able to get them out? And how did you do that?
They're staying on top of this. They're asking anyone who can.
Yeah, we got them out and we got their important things. Now they're down the street here at our condo, and we came back to see if we could come get more stuff for them because they're nervous, but we can't get up the street.
Right. So you're in are you in a warning area right now, or are you in a mandatory area where you are, where your in-laws have been brought?
And the LA County Fire Department. You were just talking about
they're just at our condo waiting for us to come home.
And tonight the residents
And are you concerned at all that you might have to end up leaving your home because of your proximity to the evacuation area?
Our Lori Perez is standing by in Malibu.
At this point, no. I think we're okay.
And how are they doing?
We're only 4 miles from the fire.
Right. It must be unnerving. It must be very difficult for you to deal with this. How are you coping?
He's a city leader here in Malibu, and I just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about
we're scared. I mean, I don't want them to lose their house. They have everything there their whole life.
Damaged. In fact, I want to get right to that video
that I took. But at least they're going to be okay with us.
An hour ago, as I was
How long have they lived there?
PCH from Duke's Restaurant in Malibu, which is at Las Flores
since 1976.
And
wow,
it was
a long time.
They
have probably seen some fires off and on over the years. Have they ever had to evacuate before?
Yeah, on the other side.
Yes, we had to evacuate.
Lots of
I think it was in the 90s, late 90s.
Familiar with,
And how old how old are your in-laws? How are they dealing with the stress of all of this?
The wine patio, that is gone. That has been burned
They're
to the ground.
very stressed out. They were panicking.
I couldn't believe
They're
my eyes
in their 90s
as we were driving down
and 80s.
PCH. We couldn't get up to Duke's
where
we
but you were able
married 66
that there were some
years.
people who
that's
had
incredible.
Been
well, we wish them the best. We hope they do okay and that their home is okay. We're going to check back and try to find out as much as we can about the neighborhood where they are from, and if we can give you an update along with our viewers, we will certainly let you know if anything goes on in that neighborhood or if there's good news to share with you.
PCH, if you want to come back to me live on Porto.
Thank you. I'd love to know because we just left and it was so close.
And behind us, up
all right, Carol Sproka, thank you very much for joining us.
And
best of luck to you and your family.
Thank you. Other houses.
All right, we're going to be heading out to Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand. Jory, I was talking just a moment ago about the strong winds and about how you specifically were talking about a flag, the bushes, just kind of seeing everything, all the just the winds taking everything down.
1, 2, 3 at least.
Yeah, I heard you mention that flagpole, and it is still standing. Although when the wind picks up, it's a metal flagpole, probably about 25 feet in the air, and it gets a good 10, 12 degree of angle that it is pushing this metal flagpole, and it is still standing. We'll see when the wind picks back up whether that will still be the case at the end of the night. But the wind continues its push on some of these flames, and it looks like we've lost another house. I won't let these emergency vehicles go by, and you see over there we've been keeping an eye on a structure right there.
Dynamic this situation is.
It had been holding on for a couple hours, and it seemed like it was very close to the flames, and it now has been lost. So that is more than half a dozen homes just in this small stretch above Sunset Boulevard where we are located that have now been lost to the Palisades fire, and that number is likely only to grow. There is no firefight right now in our location. This is the eastern flank of the Palisades fire, and the smoke has begun to close in on our location a little bit. It had been holding steady, blowing from right to left across your screen. That is north to south. That's pretty much what we expect with a Santa Ana wind event like this down towards the Pacific Ocean. But we are still somehow getting wind gusts directly towards us. It is blowing to the east as well. So we're looking at simultaneous wind gusts in two separate directions. It's kind of a signature of what we've been seeing here in terms of the unpredictability of which direction the wind is blowing, when it will gust and when it will sit down. It has been a steady, heavy wind for the last hour or hour and a half, where before it would settle down and we'd have these really heavy bursts come through. Now it is really steady, strong winds, and then we will still have those strong bursts making its way through. And now the flames just leaping from that structure that is it's looking to be yet another total loss. And again, in our last report we showed you, we took a drive down Sunset Boulevard right towards that home. So that is up the hill from Sunset Boulevard up towards Will Rogers State Park as another ambulance makes it through. This is from LAFD. A lot of jurisdictions in this firefight, and they are heading west towards this fire. Again, we're at Amalfi Drive and Sunset Boulevard. We thought by this time that we would be talking about homes being lost on Amalfi, but the progress of the fire, at least at this location, seems to have stalled and held pretty much on the other side of a canyon that we are directly in front of. So between where we are and where those active flames are, there is a canyon. It dips down there. We've walked down a couple times throughout the evening to just see whether the homes down in that valley were able to survive, and so far they have. We're going to head down there in a little bit before 11 o'clock just to see what the status is, whether those homes down there are still intact, because we can't see them here from our vantage point. But we do see up on that ridge line that several more homes have gone. And this is another LA City ambulance making its way through. Emergency personnel are on the move in both directions. We've seen that throughout the night. We've seen what we believe to be a shift change when we saw about a dozen LAFD units head out. A few minutes later, we saw another dozen head the other way with their lights and sirens on as they're making their way back towards the firefight. But we have been camped here for about 5 hours. When we got here at around 5:30, this area was generally clear, and we felt like we were pretty far from the fire. In fact, we saw in the distance at the top of that ridgeline, behind where those flames are right now, it had just crested that hillside, and we figured it would take a long time for it to go down the hill, but it marched down pretty quickly. It was a rapid descent down that hillside to where those homes are, and that seems to be where it has stalled for the last couple of hours, and that is good news for the residents here on Amalfi. I've gotten a message on social media from someone who says his family lives up on the north side of Sunset on Amalfi and asked us how they're doing, and I said it's good news. It seems the progress seems to have stalled. The only concern that I can think of is that in that wildland above this area, it could creep around the top and make its way down. That doesn't seem to be what is happening right now, but I can see way up on the hills in the kind of a northwest direction, there are some flames up there as well. So we'll continue to monitor things here, but add another one to the list of homes that have gone and families that will be returning home whenever, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, to find that there is nothing left.
It is still widespread. We are not
just a tragedy unfolding really across big swaths of Southern California right now. Jory Rand, part of our team covering the unfolding disaster in Pacific Palisades and Malibu and areas around there. Michelle Fisher has been there all evening as well. Michelle, what's the latest from your vantage point?
Pasadena, Altadena. All right, well, we're along Pacific Coast Highway and Carbon Canyon. We're outside of LA County Fire Station 70. And right now, it seems like people that are on this end of Malibu are getting prepared. We've seen just how quickly conditions can deteriorate and how quickly the fire can move in this direction and threaten homes here. If you look behind me here over the fire line here, over this tree line here, excuse me, you can see what looks like some smoke and some glowing flames that we would imagine might be on the other side of that tree. And that's what people in this area that we've been speaking with are worried about. There are at least a dozen or so cars that I'm seeing parked along Pacific Coast Highway right now, people getting out of their vehicles, looking toward Pacific Palisades, seeing that glowing orange in the night sky, and thinking to themselves, okay, what are we going to do when we have to possibly evacuate? Also, I'm going to have my photographer go ahead and pan over so you can see the road blockage here. You see a Los Angeles County fire truck making its way through. But this road blockage here means that people cannot go toward Pacific Palisades from this part of Malibu. They have to actually go up Carbon Canyon. We're seeing them being sent that way right now as they try to evacuate, some of them possibly evacuating early and trying to be proactive. Other people that we've spoken to tonight say they're just going to take a look at the conditions right now, go home, pack a bag, and then try to get some sleep. And as you can imagine, kind of difficult to get sleep in conditions like this, because many people, as they have shared tonight, they leave their home thinking one thing, that this might just be an evacuation, and they are hearing in real time on our air that their homes have been destroyed. So people don't want that to be their circumstance tonight. I believe we have some sound with a gentleman that we spoke with just a few moments ago. He was walking us through what he plans to do for the evening.
Sure. So last night I got the wind advisory for like 80 to 100 mile per hour life-threatening alert last night. So whenever I get a wind alert now, I know there's probably going to be a fire. So what's going on right now is I live up by Zuma Beach, and I have no power or internet. So what we do in Malibu is we just kind of, sorry about that.
Yeah, this is the one that's burning off.
So what happened was I left and went over the hill just to get internet, came back before I go to sleep. I drove down here just to see how far the fire came, so I know how to prepare.
This is off Foothill Boulevard and Yarnell Road. This is the
I just grabbed photo albums, that kind of stuff, anything important, maybe just some clothes, to prepare. I have my car packed, I have a bug out bag as well. When I was up there on the driving down the hill, I could see further back, and it just looked like a cigarette when you take a cigarette and you start sucking on it, and you can see the end start lighting up more. That's what the Palisades looks like from here. It just looks like,
closed because of the fire, because of smoke that was shooting off of the freeway or over the freeway.
And so the LA County Fire Department shared with us a quick evacuation checklist. I remember actually this was for the Franklin fire that they gave me these tips. And I want to share with people because many more people tonight into the early morning may have to evacuate their homes. So if you are listening to this and maybe you're thinking you should pack a bag, these are some quick items that you want to think about. And there are 6 Ps. So it's people and pets, also papers and important documents, your prescription drugs, also pictures, personal computers and electronics, and also plastic. That means your credit cards and cash. So just something that everyone should be aware of as we're seeing the fire not only here but in other parts of Los Angeles County and Southern California. It is a real reality with these winds that more people might have to evacuate very quickly. That is the latest now here in Malibu. I'll go ahead and send it back to you all in the studio.
Of course, that is very quick.
All right, Michelle Fisher, thank you. Reporting live from Malibu. It has been a long and difficult night and will continue to be for all of us and pretty much everybody in these evacuation areas as well.
Absolutely. We're talking about a new fire that we've been following this evening. The Los Angeles City Fire Department, they are issuing an evacuation order for the Sylmar fire. So they're asking people in the area north of the 210 freeway from Roxford Street to the 514 freeway split. You need to evacuate now due to a rapidly moving wildfire. So they're saying pack all your people and pets into your vehicle, leave the area immediately. And if you are not in this mandatory evacuation zone, stay off the roads, allow for first responders and evacuees to move more quickly. And again, this is happening in the hills above Sylmar, and you can see right there. And Mark, we saw this just minutes ago, and this fire is growing.
It's growing. It's bigger than when we checked on it a few minutes ago. At last acreage report, the first acreage report we got was somewhere around 50 acres. It's got to be bigger than that now. This is also an area, a lot of people have horse properties up there, so there's going to be the added complication of people having to move their large animals out of there. If we get in word on where you can take your large animals, your livestock, we will certainly put that information out. But again, if you're in that area that Colleen mentioned, you have to get out now and do it for your own safety. You have been seeing what has been happening in neighborhoods from Pacific Palisades to Eaton Canyon, and it is not pretty, and people have been getting injured. You should get out now if you're in that mandatory evacuation area.
All right, well, we're going to go over to Chief Meteorologist Dallas Raines. Dallas, you've been preparing all of us for this wind event.
Yes.
And when we are starting the thick of it, really.
Yes, we have more powerful winds tonight through early tomorrow morning. Colleen and Mark and folks at home. So it's not over and will not be over really until tomorrow afternoon. And even at that time, we're going to keep the red flags going. I do anticipate that perhaps by around lunchtime, late morning, early afternoon, we'll be able to fly some of the smaller helicopters, which will help us out tremendously. Here's a close-in view of some of the fires that we're talking about, the Altadena fire, and then another fire has just been started, I guess, around the Sylmar area. We talked about that for just a few minutes there, too. The winds through that area are blowing quite hard at about 30 to 40 miles per hour with occasional gusts. And when you look at our fire here, you can see that the embers are flown. They can fly for great distances, 300, 400, 500 meters into the atmosphere. And that, of course, is blowing from the northeast to the southwest. Now let's take a look then at that situation in Altadena. We had reported some winds, remote winds, up to 85 mile per hour gusts. And so that area will still be hit through early tomorrow morning, and then hopefully a little bit better conditions will come our way as we get into the afternoon hours. But this offshore event, even though the winds will go down, the red flag remains in effect all the way through Thursday because the temperatures will warm up, the air will actually get a little drier, even though the wind velocities come down. We're watching that carefully for you. Here's another shot as we head into the Malibu Hills, and you will notice that all of your winds are below canyon passes. So anyone who lives, any of us who live in the canyons, you are susceptible to these powerful winds coming out of the northeast during a strong Santa Ana wind event. And down in Orange County, they get them too, coming through the Santa Ana mountains. That's what the Santa Ana winds were named for, because of the winds in Santa Ana can be very strong. However, it's better to call them the Santana winds because those are the devil winds, and they blow all across Southern California, not just in Santa Ana and Central Orange County. Winds should be tapering off a little bit tomorrow in the Palisades by lunchtime or so, but it's still strong enough to be a real problem there. As we look out down into the valley now, this is the wind profile for Altadena. Very strong winds through early tomorrow morning, and then a fairly sharp drop-off after noon tomorrow. At that time, as I mentioned, hopefully we'll be able to get some of the choppers up and help out. Chino, today, Santa Monica, all of these wind velocities recorded. San Bernardino 55, I did 66 6 out at Cal State Northridge, not Northridge, but Cal State San Bernardino. Their weather station was 66 miles per hour. So what happened? Well, we've been talking about this for actually about 10 days, that this powerful low pressure would form out here. It's over the Sea of Cortez tonight, southeast of San Diego. It's going to move very slowly tonight and tomorrow, but eventually, by tomorrow afternoon, that pressure gradient will weaken. The cold air advection from 20,000 feet will back down, and we'll see a relief from this situation, thank goodness. Here's a quick look at wind velocities that I'm forecasting. And again, really strong through these canyons. No break at all, 7:05 in the morning. And then as we get late morning, we start to shrink that a little bit. And by late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, this event will be over with as far as the powerful winds go, thank goodness. Here's 7-day, red flags tomorrow, of course, and then again on Thursday, winds backing down. You can see my forecast velocities through the canyons down to 25 on Thursday.
And then it turns a little bit cooler for the weekend. We have another front coming in. It won't have any winds with it of any significance, maybe some night winds Sunday night. But there is another event that I'm looking at very carefully tonight for day 7. That would be next Tuesday. That event could be a moderate to maybe even strong. Red flag warnings, I'm sure, will be issued at day 7. But right now, we're worried about what's going on now. 72, 75, a big 77 on Friday as the winds back down, sunny and warm. Then a cool down for the weekend in the valleys. Going to be cold at night, too, down to 35, 36, 37. Areas like Westlake Village and Woodland Hills, 38, maybe as cold as 38 at Burbank. Here's the forecast for the beaches for tomorrow. We have fire danger continues out there, 69 on Thursday. There'll be plenty of sunshine at the beaches tomorrow, plenty of sunshine on Thursday, and through the weekend it will be cooler there. Now here's our last, not our last forecast, but our mountain forecast. Snow fell today in Big Bear and more light snow showers. Look how cold it is up there, 39 degrees, dropping to 13 Friday night and 20 degrees Saturday night, 18 on Sunday night. So really cold at Big Bear, especially during the evening hours. Now in the deserts, gusty winds are still in the forecast, 58, 60. Red flags out there. No fires have been started, thank goodness. And then on Saturday and Sunday, still breezy in the desert. Palm Springs 69 and 74 on Sunday. High Desert 64, 62. Another burst of strong Santa Ana winds are expected overnight tonight through tomorrow morning, as you can see on my
I want to come to my computer here really quickly,
Dallas Rains,
because I want to show you, if we can, the map here
is
where this is
Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
My husband saw it was maybe 5 feet high, and then the gusts came and it just blew up.
The smoke just got really bad, so I just started packing up all of our stuff, and we got in the car to go. And then all the cars were abandoned, so I had nowhere to go, so I just had to get out of my car and start walking. The smoke is so bad.
Breaking right now, a firestorm across Southern California. 2 major wildfires burning right now, fueled by hurricane-strength gusts of wind.
The first fire breaking out a little more than 12 hours ago in Pacific Palisades. Roughly 3,000 acres have burned so far, the fire forcing thousands of people from their homes and multiple structures.
Then tonight, another brush fire broke out in the Eaton Canyon area. It has exploded in size, forcing mandatory evacuations in the Altadena area. Our crews on scene have seen structures burning here as well.
And here's a map showing where the 2 fires are burning right now. Several communities across our area getting impacted from the Palisades fire and Eaton fire, burning more than 400 acres in the Altadena area.
We're also reporting 2 new fires that have erupted just tonight, just within the last hour. This one in Sylmar. Evacuation orders are in now for people in the area north of the 210 freeway from Roxford Street to the 514 freeway split. They say people need to evacuate this area immediately because of that rapidly moving wildfire. Chris Christie joining us live now on the phone with what he is seeing. Chris.
This is a dangerous situation. It has already burned 100 acres. That's
Chrissy
according
there?
to the CAL FIRE mapping system. And again, this is called the Hearst fire.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, got you, Chris. Go ahead.
Between Roxford
and the 514 I'm at Foothill and Yarnell.
Continue to monitor
just
this
off
fire,
of the 210 freeway.
This is just the latest of what we're dealing with here in Southern California tonight.
A movie we have seen before. This is the Saddle Ridge fire all over again. The mountains above Saddle Ridge and Yarnell Street are lighting up the night sky, and the visibility down here is as if it was just a foggy day because of the smoke. It's very hard to see, but each and every intersection is gridlocked with people trying to evacuate right now. There are Angeles National Forest crews trying to make their way up there. They're not going to be very effective in trying to reach the fire itself, but there are crews, strike teams, at least being dispatched to engage in some kind of structure protection. The main body of fire, though, is hundreds of feet above this neighborhood, with winds blowing at least 40 to 50 miles per hour, and that is why they have issued that evacuation order for residents north of the 210 freeway. But I have to tell you, if history is any indicator, this certainly has potential. If things continue the way they are and the way it's predicted, this certainly has potential to start jumping major freeways like the 210 freeway. So I would say that anybody in this part of the San Fernando Valley, across Sylmar, in the foothills here, if you are anywhere near here, it is time to heed the warnings and start getting ready to leave, because I see that evacuation only growing at the rate the fire is spreading.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you very much for that live report. We're also learning about a new fire along the 5 freeway in Sun Valley. Crews say the fire sparked just before 9 o'clock tonight at a home, then quickly spread because of the ferocious winds. Crews, they're asking for a partial closure of the 5 freeway right now, and we have been covering the Eaton fire all evening. Leanne Suter, she is live right now with more on the destruction there. Leanne.
Looks like they maybe kicked open. Yeah, Colleen, we've moved up to an area of Pasadena known as Kinaloa Mesa, and there is a church here fully engulfed in flames. It is a very large church. According to the map here, is an Expressions Church. We have just seen this thing explode in flames in the last couple of minutes. LA County Fire is up here helping out with Pasadena fires. They try to get this under control, but the winds up here really are just whipping through this area, and I have to tell you, at times when that happens, we have seen embers the size of your hand. They have been huge embers blowing off of this church and flying up into the air. And I mean, it's been astounding, honestly, to see just how large those embers have been and how far they can fly. That is why the crews are up here. Obviously, they're trying to keep somewhat of a containment on this fire. This church on fire is directly across from the High Point Academy, and at this point nothing has happened to the school. That is safe. The crews are here for structure protection for that, but they are keeping a very close eye on this church, completely lost. The front of the building says Church of Christ, but I know when you look on the map it says it is Expressions Church. It is a new church. The entire building is gone. There's going to be nothing left here. I spoke with one firefighter who says up here on Kinaloa, they believe that at least one other structure has been lost in this area. But right now, the firefight on this street, at least, is on this church, this massive church. And as you guys can see, I'm waiting. Can you see some of these really large? Duncan's going to kind of show them every once in a while. You can see these big embers. I mean, they really are huge pieces of ember that fly up into the air. On the other buildings that we've seen burning, I was saying it was raining embers. They were much smaller. These pieces are just giant that have been burning. And I don't know if we can make it out as Duncan comes around back over here. I'm going to show you. We're kind of up on a hill. So the way that we're kind of up above Eaton Canyon, and if we look out in the distance, we can now see a whole bunch of homes and other parts now burning south of New York Drive, up on the ridge there, kind of above a wash area. That we can see so much on fire now up above there. So you can see that it continues to be pushed that way. I'm hearing all kinds of explosions and stuff from this church. This is just another prime example.
Cute little cabins really tightly packed in, and that could be scary
for them.
All right,
looks like we have lost Leanne's audio connection, but you are getting a sense now that church that is being destroyed as we speak. It looks like some firefighters are just arriving on scene, putting some water on it, but it may in fact be too late. And you see all the embers that are flying from that structure going downwind and posing a great danger to the structures downwind from that church. We're going to check in with, do we have her back? All right, Leanne, can you hear us?
I know that that
we're
is,
back. Sorry, I had some technical difficulty. I will say this has been an interesting challenge up here on the hill because, as you can see, the firefighters, they've been dousing or trying to put some water on this fire, but with the wind, it's literally just been blowing it kind of back onto us here. So again, we're getting some really strong gusts up here, and that is what.
Yeah, this is just a tree stump in front of someone's house. These are all these little embers that are
we're going to try to reestablish a signal with Leanne Suter's crew. In the meantime, Sophie Flay nearby, or has been for much of the evening in the Eaton Canyon area. Sophie, another situation where another structure, another home being lost behind you.
I've heard firefighters say that those embers, obviously,
Mark, take a look at this. The flames moving so fast on this home on Altadena. We are on Altadena between two main roads, Washington and New York, just to give you some context of where we are. And take a look at the house next door, right next door. I mean, you can't even really call it a house. It's completely gone, covered in flames, completely engulfed in flames. It is so dark and smoky out here. The wind is moving this fire so fast. And this is what a lot of this area looks like. Home after home, claimed by flames. Just a few houses down from us. I want to say there's two houses down from the shot that we're on right now, and then right next to it is the Pasadena Jewish Center and Temple. I'm told that there is also a Jewish school in that building as well. We saw that, just about 30 minutes ago, the roof of that building totally gone, collapsed within minutes. And just, down the street from there on Washington, we saw multiple, about 96 people in a nursing home, an assisted living home, Terrace Park. They were evacuated. People coming down in wheelchairs, people being evacuated in rolling beds. They were taken to Los Feliz. That is where they were evacuated. We spoke to a woman who came over to help her mother. It was a really tough night for her. She lives in Arcadia. It took her a while because her power was going in and out to really understand what was going on in that assisted living home. And of course, so many obstacles trying to get people in wheelchairs downstairs, trying to get people in rolling beds downstairs and safely evacuated out of here because this happened so fast. Again, we are obviously in a mandatory evacuation area, and there is an evacuation center at the Pasadena Civic Center. We also saw some MTA buses here, and 3 of them actually on the street on Altadena just moments ago. They were looking to help evacuate people. If you are still in the area, which you should not be, and you need to get out, keep an eye out for them because they are ready to take you out of here because you should be out of here. This is what your home could look like. To a friend of mine who's in
Those are absolutely devastating images right now. And Sophie, you are right. If people are still trying to decide if they need to evacuate, I don't think they need to decide. Just get out, get ready to go because, again, they hinder the firefighters' response time to fight these fires when they have to worry about people inside. Thank you so much for that live report. Again, we've been covering the Palisades fire as well all evening long. We know it started nearly 12 hours ago. We know Jory Rand, he's there. He's been covering this. Jory, let's take a look at your vantage point.
Position just below
so we are at this location at Amalfi and Sunset because throughout the afternoon and into the evening, the fire was pushing us east. We would find a location, set up, see the flames, the smoke would encroach upon us, visibility went down to 0. We couldn't tell how far the flames were from us, so we kept going east. One of those locations was on Chautauqua Boulevard. We saw at the top of Chautauqua there is a reservoir that butts up against the wildland in Will Rogers State Park. We saw open flames up there, and residents were telling us they thought their homes would be gone by the end of the night as it slowly made its way down. What we have discovered is that the homes we're looking at right in the distance are on Chautauqua Boulevard. That one that just popped up within the last half an hour caught flame and is now fully engulfed is on Chautauqua. And we have some video that we took earlier of more than a half a dozen other homes on Chautauqua that have been lost, fully engulfed. That fire did make it down from the top of the boulevard. It made its way down along that wild space in Rustic Creek, and we have seen those homes be lost. It is a long string of homes, and unfortunately they are now gone. Now Rustic Creek is a bit of a canyon, a little valley between where we are seeing those homes on fire and our position right now. The LAPD and the LAFD thought by this hour it would have transgressed across Rustic Creek, transversed it, and made it up to these homes here where we are. That has not happened. Its progress has stalled a bit as it makes its way down Chautauqua to the south, but we have not seen that eastern progress that we thought would be the case. Now, once things kind of settled down here and we realized that these homes were safe, we went for a drive to see how things looked down on Sunset Boulevard. That takes us down into Rustic Creek and then back up on the other side. We have some video of that drive that we tried to make it down west on Sunset. And there were some hazards throughout the entire time we were on that roadway. Tree branches had been coming down the hill and had piled up across much of the roadway. In fact, where we stand now, we see a couple fire engines making through. They're going to have to make it through that debris field in the middle of Sunset Boulevard. There is also open flame right up against the roadway on Sunset. That's two reasons why they shut this roadway down. It is a very dangerous trip. These engines and LAPD cruisers and ambulances have had to make this trip over and over again as they go to and from the fire lines. They've had to make it through a very dangerous, treacherous conditions as they've made that trek. Right up against the roadway, you can feel the heat come through your window when you're that close to it. And that was a couple hours ago. We're not sure exactly what the conditions are there now, but we do see in the distance more homes that is up on Chautauqua have now been lost.
Discretion. And at one point we just said, no, absolutely not. We got to turn around.
We have made it up north on Amalfi. As of this hour, things remain calm other than the wind itself and the danger of trees and branches coming down on homes. But the fire danger at this hour, it remains, but these homes remain intact. We have not seen it make its way down into the canyon and back up on the other side. Now, there is some orange glow and some smoke coming from the north. It could have gone up and around into the Riviera neighborhood and made its way down that way, but we cannot see the smoke is just too thick even to see any potential orange glow in that neighborhood. We are about 3 blocks west-northwest of Riviera Country Club. That seems safe. On the far side of that, it leads down into Santa Monica and San Vicente Boulevard. We saw evacuation orders in Santa Monica at San Vicente North. That is our direction up, which makes sense when they thought that this was in imminent danger of going. And we saw other evacuation warnings from San Vicente over to Montana in the city of Santa Monica. So a wide swath of area here is now under evacuation warning or evacuation warnings. And we did speak to a sergeant here at the LAPD at the time when we thought that wall of flames was headed our way. And they made announcements through this neighborhood to evacuate and make your way east to the 405. That's about 4 miles to our east. But that sergeant said if he had his way, he would have everyone in this area leave tonight, get out, get to safety all the way to the 405. He wants to see that area clear and safe. If you have not left and you're in that area, get your stuff together, because even as we stand here now and these homes remain intact, things could change very quickly. The winds are swirling, they are strong, and they are at my back, which means some of those gusts are pushing very strongly to the east. It's the opposite direction of where we expect to see the wind gusts going in a Santa Ana wind event blowing west and south down towards the Pacific Ocean. It is a steady wind to the east that hopefully does not carry any embers or flames any further. But right now, we can see several homes, more than a half a dozen or a dozen or more on Chautauqua have been lost. There are some flames down in Rustic Creek, and there are a lot of homes down there that a lot of people are keeping an eye on. And up here at Amalfi and Sunset, things remain in decent condition other than the wind blowing and the potential damage that could cause, guys.
Yeah, Jory, in a typical wildland fire like this, you would see structure protection. You see firefighters stationing themselves outside homes that are in danger and prepared to tackle any flames that come. Have you seen any hint of that? Do they have the kind of resources where they can do that sort of structure protection that you've seen?
You know, you go on the water to.
We have not seen it. We have seen some engines from LAFD and other jurisdictions make their way through here towards the fire, but as far as firefights, we have not seen a single instance of it. In fact, when we were on Chautauqua, about 5 o'clock, the 4 to 5 o'clock hour, we were speaking with residents there who said they did not see a single engine come up their roadway, and they were understandably very upset. Earlier, we were a little further, even further west, with a woman who lived in an apartment building right off Temescal, and that's how we made our way up, off of PCH up Temescal. That's where you saw the high school burning earlier tonight. She said she didn't see anyone in our area. We saw a man desperate, pulled his car up, rolled his window down, and said, "You have to tell the fire department our apartments are burning. They're not doing anything."
Even if you don't live
and all we could do was just tell them they're spread so thin, there's nothing that could be done. But from that point, from Temescal east, we have seen the personnel driving through. We have not seen any of those personnel in active firefight. And up until the sun went down, we did see a sporadic helicopter in the air, and as we know, the entire fleet has now been grounded. So as far as this area, the firefight is basically nil.
The community's going to have a lot of questions about this, Jory. Thank you very much. It is very frustrating, and it's especially when you see these devastating images from these fires. Jory, thank you very much for that live report.
It's not like firefighters are sitting on their hands either. They're rushing from place to place. They are just overmatched by the immensity and the fierceness of the winds and the quickness of the spread and the dryness of the fuel. Dallas rains. Of course, this is a weather-driven, wind-driven event or series of events that we're watching. That's right. And it's going to get worse tonight, correct?
That's right, Mark. We have another burst of strong Santa Ana winds. I mean, it's still strong, but there will be one more that will be between about 4 o'clock in the morning and around sunrise, and then we'll start to see that abate a little bit as we head into the late morning hours. Red flag warnings, though, are going to stay with us all the way through Thursday, because even though the winds will be less on Thursday, the humidity is going to be even drier, and there'll still be some winds coming through those canyons up to 25 miles per hour. But the strongest winds tonight through early tomorrow morning, as you can see that area there. We're going to zoom up to the fire that was started up in the Sylmar area. That was a couple of hours ago. That is also burning with winds of 40 to 50 miles per hour. They'll have gusts up to 60 early tomorrow morning. And of course, the fire in the Altadena area, same deal. Very strong winds come through these canyon passes. They're squeezed. And if you live in those canyons, you are susceptible to these powerful Santa Ana winds. As a matter of fact, when you look at the wind map, you can see the reds and kind of purple areas are all below canyon passes. And get down LA, on down toward Carson, you don't have anything to worry about down there at all. But out there in those canyons, whether it's down in Orange County, we haven't seen any fires down there, thank goodness. And we have not seen any fires started out in the Riverside area of the IE all day long, and hopefully that will not happen as we head into tomorrow morning. So that's what we can all hope and pray for. Here's the view of the wind profile for the Palisades area. Still very strong overnight, averaging about 20 to 35 miles per hour, but occasional big gusts, and then it'll drop off, I think, certainly by afternoon tomorrow. And in the Altadena area, I think we'll see those winds drop off as we get into late to late morning and early afternoon hours. But still, this is a strong event. You can see our camera up there just shaking around up in the mountain areas. Here are some of the wind velocities. I did see an 87 reported earlier today during the time when the Magic Mountain area was receiving powerful winds up through that area. 71 at Burbank Airport. The center of the low is tracking very slowly. As long as we have this low very close to this big high, that's why we have the Santa Ana winds. They've been blowing through these mountain passes for millions of years, and they will continue, because this type of weather pattern, especially during a La Nina episode in the Pacific Ocean, we see a lot of offshore events. We talked about this 3 or 4 months ago, where I was forecasting below normal rain this year after 2 years of heavy rain, and that we would see these powerful winds. Now notice, as we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow, things start settling down a little bit, and then during the evening and by this time tomorrow night, I think this entire wind event will be over. So that's the good news there. Here's our 7-day red flags tomorrow and Thursday. Strongest winds between midnight tonight and about 7, 8, 9 o'clock o'clock in the morning. It's mild, 73 downtown, cooler for the weekend. There is another event that I'm tracking at this moment that looks like we'll have another Santa Ana offshore wind event on Tuesday of next week. This one, at this time, I think will be moderate. I'm certainly hoping for that, but we're going to have to watch this very carefully as the strong La Nina type weather pattern climate system is setting up over Southern California. Red flags up there. It's cold air too coming down. Look at the overnight lows Friday and Saturday night in the valleys, anywhere between 35 like Woodland Hills and 38 degrees. Places like Burbank out toward Arcadia. At the beaches tomorrow, gusty winds, clear skies. Thursday, clear, and it's still windy up there tomorrow morning along the canyons of above the beaches. And then on Saturday and Sunday, some much cooler forecast with highs only about 60 at Huntington Beach on Saturday afternoon. Mountains, we had some light snow today. I hope you had a chance to see that in the earlier broadcasts I had for you. Hard to believe, but that is the type of climate systems we have in Southern California. We have so much, from deserts to alpine climates. They still have a chance of snow showers tomorrow, not very much. 39 for a high. We're down in the teens for Big Bear Lake Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Here's forecast for the deserts. Red flags are blowing. No fires have been started out there. 58, 60, and Palm Springs running in the low 70s for the most part there. 75 on Thursday. Your weekend forecast in the high desert. Temperature's quite mild. 64, 62, down to 29 at night. So the red flags stay with us, and that's going to be the deal all the way through Thursday. But I do believe that the winds will start backing off late morning, early afternoon tomorrow.
It's very dry out there.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
And then I also want to bring it to Sylmar,
a very restless evening tonight, Dallas. Thank you. All right. Well, David Ono, you are following closely where these fires are located, and you're at the touchscreen.
Yeah, this will give you a decent idea of what we're dealing with when it comes to the immensity of these fires and the amount of people that are affected. So here are the three fires: the Eden fire, the brand new Hearst fire, the Palisades fire. So let me zoom in first on this Palisades fire, and let me. Sorry about my back, but I want to get this correct and make sure it works properly. The fire started here and quickly spread down through the canyons. The evacuations went all the way through this community, all the way to Malibu over here. But the important part now, and you heard Jory report on it, and by the way, this is Palisades High School, which is also what burned recently. This evening we saw that burn, but look at all the homes affected by this. So
Glendale into Pasadena,
let me pull this a little bit further out, and that is going into Santa Monica. You heard Jory Rand talk about San Vicente. That was when this evacuation order went all the way to San Vicente. Then they expanded it all the way to Montana. So let me show you as I pull out. This is Montana. Look at all the homes that are affected. This is just the Santa Monica area, the newest part of the evacuation for this fire in the Palisades. So an enormous amount of people, thousands of people affected by that evacuation. And keep in mind, we're dealing with hours more of this windstorm that's going to continue to push those flames all the way through this community. Let me pull out a little bit and bring you up to this fire up here. Hang on one second. The Eaton fire. I'm going to pull out. Sorry about doing all of this, but this is going to give you a better idea of what we're talking about. The Eaton fire started right here. It quickly spread into Altadena. All these homes right in here, and there's a tremendous amount. Then it burned down towards Pasadena. We saw evacuations going through all of these areas, and then the evacuations pushing all the way to Sierra Madre. And Sophie was just reporting from Sierra Madre, where she was in front of a home that was on fire. Look at all the houses in this community that are now in danger. And keep in mind, again, I'll emphasize the fact that these winds will push throughout the night for the next several hours, and these flames will continue to move. It is not static or staying stationary. Now, of large concern is this brand new fire. Let me pull out just right now. That is the Hearst fire. That just broke out about an hour and a half ago. Chris Christie was reporting from here. Look at the freeway. He's now reporting that the fire is burned to the freeway and could potentially be jumping over the freeway, but also there's a large likelihood that that freeway will be shut down as they continue to fight this fire that is growing tremendously and quickly. But as this fire grows, look how giant this community is. If it burns down into this area, nothing but homes down south of the freeway and then to the east of the freeway, right over here. So largely, as a whole, you can see here are the three fires again. Tremendous tremendous amount of homes, all affected from the Uu fire, Hearst fire, Palisades fire. Thousands of people. If you're in any of these areas, you need to stay vigilant, continue to listen in on the warnings and the evacuations, because these winds will continue to push the fire. It is out of control and will continue to move. So be ready. Mark, Colleen, back to you.
All right, David Ono, thank you. An illustration, really, we talk about the urban-rural interface, the wildland interface with communities. You can be in the flatlands, you can be in a community that you believe is safe and insulated, not when the conditions are as they are. David, thank you for that. Niku Kazore is in the area of the Hearst fire. We talked about how this is horse country up there. A lot of people with their large animals that need to get out. Nico, looks like you have a case in point right there.
Different for us. It is the perfect
Absolutely,
setup for the
we just caught Kuko. He has his horse and they're evacuating. We saw them crossing the street. So we're trying to exactly figure out what their situation is. Kuko is on the phone right now, but you can see he does have his horse. They're trying to find shelter
for northeasterly winds, and that's why we are seeing this system, this storm, this windstorm.
We've lost audio with Niku, but again, these are just the heartbreaking images that we see. Hopefully, we will reestablish a connection with her, but we are seeing video and live images of an evacuation taking place. This is always one of those areas where we know we've seen large animals trying to be evacuated, and again, they don't always have a place to go, Mark, because of course every place is trying to establish new evacuation centers for these large animals as well.
As soon as we find out where those evacuation centers are, typically Pierce College is one of them in the Woodland Hills area, so we're going to find out if that's going to be available again in other communities. Let's go to Michelle Fisher. She has been in Malibu throughout the evening and covering this Palisades fire, which began more than 12 hours ago, and the devastation that has been wrought on that community is huge. The fire crossing all the way into PCH and beyond, burning all the way to the ocean at this point. Where are you? You're on PCH now, Michelle?
60s are on tap for us for Saturday and Sunday.
I'm on PCH. This is 20,700 block of Pacific Coast Highway. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see what's burning behind me. 3 homes side by side, one of them actually collapsing right now as we speak. And just the intensity of the winds here, it is
still tough out there.
Remarkable. As we were getting out of the news van, our tripod literally started blowing down the street at a very rapid pace. I could barely even get the door open to step out of the vehicle, and that is what the conditions are like out here for fire crews who are battling these flames.
And yes, there are now help coming from
I know we've been talking about how fire defense has been limited, and I think that's because so much of their attention right now is on trying to protect structures and get these fires out. These are homes. We know we've been focusing on the hillsides on one side of Pacific Coast Highway. But the homes that you're seeing burning in the distance here that are just fully engulfed right now, side by side, those are beachfront properties, multi-million-dollar homes that are just devastated. I think I mentioned in one of my earlier hits that a lot of comparisons have been to Lahaina in Hawaii, and this is the part of town that we were riding through that looks like that, apocalyptic, downed power lines just completely into the homes, completely in the streets, home after home after home, burned side by side. Usually in some instances we've seen that there might be one home on fire, then a couple are not on fire, and then maybe another one is burning. But for whatever reason, on this side of Pacific Coast Highway, in this particular portion of Malibu, it has just been a stretch of dozens, I would say, of homes and properties that have been burned simultaneously, and that have been burning for some time now, at least about an hour. So a really difficult situation for firefighters. The winds out here not making it any easier, and it's happening on both sides. I'm going to have my photographer actually pan up to the hillside here that's near where we're standing, and you can see it's burning there in the hillside.
The Hearst fire is burning.
A property and a structure there that looks like some type of shed or outhouse.
You can see those tall power
lines, and it's those embers and those flames
this fire continues
that you can see the embers kind of blowing in the night sky there. It's those embers that that are flying off into the distance that so quickly then hit another property, and that is how we get conditions like homes just being completely engulfed. Beside this property, it looks like some type of condominium complex, multi-units there, and a portion of that property is burning right now as well. And then, as I've mentioned, on the other side of the street, there are those homes burning in the distance that just look like something out of a movie for the end of the world. I mean, just a really tough situation as we've been covering this all night. I know all of the reporters on the ground have seen some pretty difficult images. I was telling my photographer as we drove through this part of town, I was like, wow, I think I'm going to get emotional and just kind of choked back tears. It's really hard to see just completely into some of these garages that are burning. You see kind of the outlines and silhouettes of various items and things that people have had in their garages, and you wonder what family lived there, what items are they leaving behind and coming back to nothing. So just a really difficult night out here for fire crews that are working incredibly hard. But that's the latest here on Pacific Coast Highway. Again, we're in Malibu, and I think I've been getting some notifications too on my phone that at least a portion of Malibu now might be under an evacuation warning or order. I'm not sure on that information, but conditions are rapidly deteriorating in at least a certain part of Malibu right now. That's the latest live here. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
We're going to try to find out information about evacuation orders and get that cleared up for you. In the meantime, as we look over your right shoulder at the firefighting apparatus that is kind of just, I guess, to the north of the house that's burning, is that a hose stream that's being applied there? Are they actually applying water to the structure next to it? Looks like it. Is there? Are you seeing an effort here that looks like they're trying to maybe put that fire out, or is it merely just defensive? What can you tell from your vantage point?
Just wondering. You know, those are
doesn't look good.
When you think about,
it looks like it may be, it looks like it may be defensive on that property. A little bit beyond that, on the other end of the street, further down, as we were making our way through, and my photographer Tommy and I were deciding where we were going to try to set up. There is another water hose a couple of houses down, because I mentioned to him that we probably weren't going to be able to set up at that end of those burning homes because of the water that was coming down. So there, you do see the fire hose and fire apparatus there closest to us, and then in the distance that we can't necessarily see, there is another hose as well. So I believe maybe there is a little bit of defensive stance that is being taken for the homes that haven't burned coming back toward this way. But as for the ones going that way, further away from us, many of those that you can't even see in the distance have also burned, and just kind of a complete loss for this entire block in the middle of Pacific Coast Highway here. It is really difficult. If we can get in the van and actually shoot some of those images safely and get them back to the studio. I think I've mentioned a couple times, service out here, not the best, but if there's a way for us to get those images back to you, we will, because it is just really, really, really difficult to see. But I know this is not the only place that these dramatic, really hard images are coming out of. A lot of homes tonight just completely burned to the ground, and it is heartbreaking.
Southbound 5 to the 210
Michelle Fisher. It's a difficult thing for reporters to cover as well.
No kidding. It's hard to look at all these images and see all the devastation. You know, also somebody else who is certainly seeing her fair share of devastation tonight is Leanne Suter. Leanne, you are covering the Eaton fire tonight. It has been incredibly fast-moving and very destructive.
Absolutely, Colleen and Mark, so destructive. We were just up at a church on fire. We've moved about a mile away on Washington Boulevard near Del Rey, and you can see behind me, this is a business complex. This is an Alta Med, a medical center, absolutely engulfed in flames. At this point, no firefighters around. There's nothing they can do at this point. You can see the entire thing is burning. The building to it also on fire. I believe that may be another care facility next door. That too is on fire. Again, there's just nothing anyone can do at this point. And it's what we've been seeing on repeat at all of these fires, at least in the fire in Pacific Palisades and the Eaton fire here in Altadena. The damage and destruction is immense. We have seen so many homes. This is the first business that I personally have seen. A huge medical complex. I could see on the map, when you look it up on Google Maps, there are several other businesses operating kind of within this facility. The entire thing gone, so everything for and everyone's livelihood that has been destroyed here. This is going to be burned to the ground. Absolutely nothing will be left because of this intense fire. And again, there are no crews here, and to no fault of their own, but there's just no way to save this building at this point. I'm sure they were here earlier and just couldn't do it. We saw crews down another side street that they were protecting homes and trying to save a whole row of homes. Again, with the embers blowing to the south in that direction, they were working on saving those. But this business absolutely gone. It's just such an eerie sight. And you can see, oh, there we go. Can you see that, Duncan, across the way, this building? All of a sudden, we see flames just shooting through, kind of by the chimney area. You can see the flames. That building is about to erupt in a tremendous amount of fire and flame. Just heard a couple of pops coming from that building. So again, all of these, the buildings, the homes, everything inside of these structures are highly flammable material. All of that insulation, all of the ceiling panels, all of the carpet that's often inside, the furniture, all of that stuff is so flammable. And firefighters often tell me, say that it can just go up in a matter of seconds. One little spark and then everything inside is engulfed in the flames, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And now we can really see the flames starting to build in the other building next door. So this section completely gone, this building business has been destroyed. And again, once those flames really destroy that two-story, looks like a two-story business next door. Once that happens, then you have a whole nother factor of the embers. And when those huge flames are coming up out of these businesses, it's just showering the area and the air with those hot embers that are then taking the fire, carrying it possibly to another location, as we've seen. So all along Washington, we're here near Delray. I can see off in the distance there's another building. Duncan, can you pan off in the distance? Look down the street, you can see that there's another, make it out. It looks like there's another building on fire. I know that this stretch of Washington here has a lot of medical buildings along it. There is a McDonald's down closer on Washington near Altadena. I don't believe that's what's on fire now that we can see down the street, but I know that there are a lot of businesses, medical businesses and whatnot. So it appears there's another structure down there that is on fire. And then these two buildings here, I believe the larger one might be Two Palms Care Center, but this Ultima completely gone. We see firefighters driving by just to keep an eye on it, but as I said, nothing they can do at this point. We're just seeing this scene on repeat all across the area. It is absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, we just keep saying, you can see it just there you go. You have a lot of the crews coming through. These are the authorities, police coming through, telling people to get out of the area because of the fire.
Tow truck trying to clear those lanes from the 101.
So he's saying that a mandatory evacuation is about to begin. I assume it has already happened for this area, just given the fact that it's happened. But we are seeing this street. We're seeing a lot of traffic here, which makes me think they have not yet shut it down. And now they're trying to get people out. I am surprised by how many folks we see coming out to come and look at this. It is a really dangerous situation to do that. You're also putting yourself in the way of all the firefighters and all of the emergency personnel out there on the streets that need to get through. So please do not do that. Do not come out and try to be a looky-loo and see what's going on. It really affects so many people and can put your life in danger, that of the fire crews, and also those that are trying to stop these fires and stop them from spreading. So they really want to keep people out of the area. So again, as you just heard, one of the police department personnel coming through, telling people they need to get out, that this is a mandatory evacuation area, and for good reason. I mean, you know, this is exactly why they're demanding that everybody gets out. So this is just one area we have seen. We are going to continue down the street, see what other businesses we can find. But we are on Washington. Oh, you can hear the glass shattering in the building. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's such an eerie sound when you hear it all literally disintegrating and just falling apart because of the fire. We will head down the street here, see what other businesses we can get. But this is Washington Ultima on Washington. This building a complete loss. The one next to it as well. To the west of it, that building is a complete loss. There's fires now beginning to shoot through the roof of that building.